Today we're looking at two posts that could not sit further apart on the loud to quiet scale. And honestly, that gap is what makes them worth putting side by side. First up, Kelly Jo finally reveals her grandson's full name after his parents, Jackson and Emerson, kept him almost entirely off the internet for a full year. And the reaction to that reveal turned into its own small story once people outside the family started weighing in on it. Then Katie posts her family's first 4th of July in Texas, and it's the exact opposite instinct. Loud, glittery, and completely unfiltered. Nothing held back for even a second. One post took a year to arrive, the other one looks like it was uploaded before the fireworks even finished. Let's start with the quiet one. Kelly Jo's post opens exactly the way you'd expect from a family that spent a year keeping this particular grandson off the internet, which is to say, carefully. In the photos, Jackson and Emerson walk through tall grass at golden hour, holding their toddler's hands from behind, nobody's face in frame, just 3 sets of hands and a kid's back as he toddles between them. It stays that way across the whole set, a silhouette of the 3 of them crossing a wheat field at dusk, a close-up of Emerson's hand resting on Jackson's arm while their son reaches up between them, the baby sitting alone in the grass, shot straight down from above, like something pulled out of a magazine spread rather than someone's phone camera roll. Even the shot where Jackson carries him cheek to cheek while Emerson looks on reads more like a professional shoot than a backyard snapshot, right down to the way the light catches everyone at exactly the right angle. Every photo in this particular set is composed the same deliberate way. Nothing candid, nothing grabbed mid-motion. Every frame clearly chosen rather than caught. Whoever composed this gallery went with composition over spontaneity, consistently enough that it clearly wasn't an accident, and clearly enough that it doubled as a kind of statement about how Jackson and Emerson wanted their kid introduced to the world, on their own terms, whenever they were finally ready to do it. It's Kelly Jo, not Jackson or Emerson, who actually writes the caption underneath all of it, and that caption is where the name finally lands. Happy first birthday to Dakota James. One day late, written the way only a grandmother writes it, pointing out how much he already looks like his dad, breaking down what both names mean, first name from a native word for friend, middle name carrying a Hebrew root about following after, wrapped up into what she calls a small prayer for his whole life. It's sincere in a way that's almost disarming next to everything else in this family's feed. No punchline, no bit. Just an actual blessing typed out in full, the kind of caption that reads more like a letter meant for Dakota himself someday than a post written for an audience scrolling past it. The reaction once this crossed over from Instagram into wider corners of the internet is where things get interesting. People who follow this family closely immediately clocked that Jackson and Emerson are the two who almost never post, the ones who've deliberately kept their entire life, including their own son's name, out of public view for a full year, which in a family this documented practically counts as a magic trick. One reply raised the question of whether Jackson and Emerson had actually agreed to Kelly Jo revealing it here at all, which says something about how protective strangers have gotten over this specific couple's privacy, almost rooting for the quiet ones to stay quiet even while celebrating the reveal in the same breath. It's a strange kind of loyalty to feel toward two people you've never actually seen post anything yourself, protective of a boundary they set without ever announcing it, just because the pattern itself was noticeable enough to respect. There's a smaller debate buried in there too, worth sitting with for a second. A few people joke that Dakota James might be the most normal name to come out of this family in a while, which is funny until you notice what it's actually implying, that an audience this size has developed expectations about how unusual a Bates baby name should sound, to the point where an ordinary one gets treated like a plot twist worth commenting on. Somebody floated that there might be Native American heritage somewhere on Emerson's side, given the meaning Kelly Jo laid out, a reasonable guess that nobody ever actually confirms. The thread just circles the question a few times before moving on to something else entirely. Either way, a wooden block toy spelling out Dakota on the floor next to him does more confirming than any caption needed to, sitting there like the family's own quiet way of making it official without having to explain a thing, the kind of detail that only registers if you're paying close enough attention to notice it was even in frame. Now flip the entire mood, because Katie went the completely other direction. Her caption keeps it simple. their first fourth in Texas. And everything in the gallery backs that up, a fresh start being celebrated as loudly as possible instead of guarded closely like Jackson and Emerson's corner of the family. Harvey shows up with glitter scattered across his cheeks and hairline, like he walked straight through a confetti cannon, holding a popsicle that's already half gone, while Haley, in a watermelon print rash guard, laughs at something just out of frame. Katie herself shows up mid-pool session with the same glitter pressed into her hairline, leaning back against the edge like she's fully given into the day, instead of just supervising it from a lounge chair somewhere, sunlight catching every fleck of it against her hair like she planned it that way, even if she probably didn't. There's a sheet cake turned into an actual American flag, using nothing but strawberries and blueberries, stripes and stars built entirely out of fruit, laid out on a baking sheet like it's about to headline its own food blog post, which, given how precise the rows are, it very well might. Where Jackson and Emerson's post felt careful and protected, Katie's reads like someone just handed over the whole day unedited. A late-night selfie in the car, eyes half shut from exhaustion. The guy behind her grinning in a shirt that turns Jesus into a patriotic pun. A late-night In-N-Out order spread out on a checkered blanket. Double-doubles still half-wrapped, fries buried under cheese and sauce, the kind of meal that only happens after a day spent entirely outside with zero energy left to cook anything. And then the pool. Obviously, because no Texas summer holiday wraps up without one, Harvey launched skyward in full-arm floaties, already laughing before he's even hit the water, splash frozen midair like the whole photo is holding its breath for one more second before gravity finally wins. Even the outtakes look intentional here. A close-up of the same glitter caught in a ponytail, another of a striped car seat outfit half forgotten in the excitement of the day. Nothing curated, everything just left in. Right down to the tired half smile in that car selfie that most people would have deleted rather than posted. Put these two side by side and you get something closer to the actual shape of this family than either post manages on its own. One corner spent a full year protecting a name so carefully that even people who track this family for a living didn't know it existed until a grandmother decided it was time. Another corner turned a cross-country move into a full sensory event. Glitter and fruit flags and pool throws, daring anyone watching to look away for even a second. Same last name, same holiday season, completely opposite instincts about what deserves to be shown and what deserves to stay exactly where it is until somebody finally decides enough time has passed. It's easy to assume a family this large would settle into one shared rhythm for how much they share. But these two posts land only hours apart on the calendar and still feel like they belong to entirely different families. One guarding a single detail for a full year, the other handing over an entire day without a second thought. Which side of that do you land on? The quiet reveal that took a year to happen, or the loud first fourth that held absolutely nothing back? Tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which instinct feels more like your own family. And if you're new here, subscribe, because between the ones who go quiet and the ones who go loud, this family never actually runs out of material worth talking about.